I hope you're able to see, right? Just a minute, it's gone. Okay. So, yes. So, as per the discussion of thermal expansion concept in the previous class, we saw the definition of coefficient of linear expansion, right? That is, we have a rod of length L naught. It is subjected to heat and its length is increasing by a factor of delta L, where delta L is nothing but L minus L naught. That is a change in length. So what was the statements that we saw? So I wrote it as delta L dash, right? So I told you the change in length is directly proportional to the original length. Similarly, the change in length is directly proportional to the change in temperature, right? Then when you combine both, delta L dash is directly proportional to L naught into delta T. So when you remove the proportionality symbol, what is the constant that we introduce? What is the name of it? It's called as
Alpha.
It's called alpha, which is coefficient of linear expansion, right? Then if you try to write alpha alone, then alpha will be equal to delta L dash divided by L naught into delta T. And delta L dash is the change in length, L naught is the original length, and delta T is the rise in temperature. If that is the case, then how can we define the coefficient of linear expansion as? Alpha will be equal to, so look at the mathematical expression of it. So when you look at it, you can say what is going to be the definition. Remember, guys, in physics, no, wherever you see division, we start with the term ratio. Ratio of what? Yes. Ratio of what? Ratio of, so last class I wrote it as change in length, no? Rather, I'll write it as ratio of increase in length to the product of whom? Original length and change in temperature. Am I right? So that's the definition. Now, what will be the SI unit for it? It is Kelvin inverse, and the CJ's unit is degree Celsius inverse. Guys, is there any doubt till whatever we discussed? Is there any point that you didn't understand?
No, sir. Understood.
Oh. Okay, I hope it's the same with others also. So we have seen what is the coefficient of linear expansion. So what are the other two types of expansions I told you? One is
superficial expansion or cubical.
Superficial expansion, which is nothing but increase in area, right? That is, see, instead of thinking of a rod, if I take a metal plate, let's say I have an aluminum plate in my hand, okay, which has length and breadth. In the previous case, it had only length. As I told you, thickness is ignored, right? Whereas here I have thickness also in the name of breadth. That is, so whenever there are two dimensions present, you're going to have area. So logically think of one fact, guys. If you start heating this, what do you think will happen? This is an aluminum. I told it's a solid. As I mentioned, it's a solid. So when you subject the solid to heat, what is going to happen? So the previous topic told us when you subjected a uniform rod to heat, its length increased. Here you're exposing a metal sheet, right? You're exposing a sheet to heat. Then what is going to happen?
The area will expand.
Yes. Area will expand. Area will increase. Okay. So you have to tell like this, Rohan. You have to either say the sheet will expand or the area will increase. That's how you need to state. But my question is, why is the area increasing? How can we take the knowledge of previous topic into this?
Both length and breadth increasing. So
Very good. Very good. So if you take length as a single dimension and breadth as a single dimension, simultaneously what is happening, guys? In each dimension, the length is increasing in one dimension and the breadth is increasing in another dimension. As a result of which, the area as a whole is going to increase. So, like how we wrote, if I say A as the initial area, okay, or I will take AI. If I take AF as the final area, okay. So generally in most of the textbooks, no, instead of AI, they will give you as A naught. But whenever you read, I suggest you to read it according to that book. Okay. So I'm saying AI is initial area, where I stands for initial, F stands for final. Then if I call delta A as the change in area, that is A final minus A initial. Okay. Then can I say that the change in area is directly proportional to the, how did I start the statement there? There I told the change in length is directly proportional to the original length. Here what will happen? The change in area will be directly proportional to, see there the change in length was proportional to original length. Change in length, original length. Here change in area will be proportional to what?
Original area.
That's it. That is what? That is AI. Okay, here AI is what is L into B. Say L into B is one of the examples, but they will not give you L and B. Rather, they will speak about the area of this material. So if I take the area of this material as A, I hope you're able to understand, guys. Right? Then delta A is directly proportional to AI. Then delta A is also directly proportional to change in temperature. Then what is delta A equal to? So delta A, I can write it as directly proportional to AI into delta T. I hope it makes sense. I've combined these two equations. So delta A will be equal to, if you remove the proportionality symbol, then the constant that we introduce is beta here. There it was alpha. Here it is beta. Beta into AI into delta T, where delta A is nothing but final area minus initial area. That is beta into AI into delta T, which implies final area will be equal to AI into 1 plus beta delta T. Okay, this is one of such expressions. And similarly, I can write beta is equal to delta A divided by AI into delta T. That is, I came from this step. Beta is equal to delta A divided by AI into delta T. Is this clear, guys? Okay. Now, what is this beta called as? There, if I call alpha as the coefficient of linear expansion, here what should it be called as? It should be called as coefficient of, what is the name of this topic?
Coefficient of superficial expansion.
Yes, it is called as coefficient of superficial expansion. Similarly, what is going to be the SI unit of beta? It is the same Kelvin inverse, because numerator is area, denominator is area into temperature. So the dimensions of area will get cancelled, only temperature will be left out. Similarly, CJ's unit of beta will be degrees Celsius inverse. Okay. Now, what will be the definition of beta? It is ratio of what?
Change in area.
Ratio of change in area to the,
Product of initial area and change in temperature.
yes, product of, see, I'm calling it as initial area. Some books will give it as original area. Both are right. Okay. I hope by now you should have understood. What is original area? Original area is the one which is before applying heat. So product of initial area and what?
Change in temperature.
See, to be more specific, what I will do is I will call it as increase. The change here is considered to be increase. So ratio of increase in area to the product of initial area and increase in temperature. Okay. Please make a note of it. Then, shall I move on to the next concept?
Yes, sir.
Listen. Next is cubical expansion. So it can also be called as volume expansion. So here I'm talking only about expansion, means heat is supplied to the material. Okay, because you can ask me, why are we not talking about compression? Okay, because what is the topic all about? What will happen when we supply heat? When you supply heat, what is going to happen? Heat is being extracted by the object. So at that time, the objects will expand. That's why we call it as cubical expansion. We are not calling it as cubical variation. It's just expansion. Okay. So when I say volume, it is applicable for what kind of objects? It should be three-dimensional, right? So for three-dimensional objects, we can think of the concept of cubical expansion. So I'm not drawing it again. If I call VI as the initial or original volume, V final is the final volume. Delta V is V final minus V initial, which is increase in volume in this scenario because it's expansion. And delta T is rise in temperature. I hope you understand the rise in temperature is also the change in temperature. Okay. So how should I start the statement with? Delta V is directly proportional to, by now you should have understood the logic.
Initial volume.
Very good. It is proportional to initial volume. Delta V is directly proportional to delta T. Then delta V is directly proportional to Vi into delta T. So what is delta V? Delta V is nothing but V final minus V initial is directly proportional to Vi into, I'll do one thing, wait. Can I write delta V is equal to, if I remove the proportionality symbol, alpha is over, beta is over. Now gamma into Vi into delta T. Okay. So what is delta V? V final minus V initial is equal to gamma into Vi into delta T. So what is V final, guys? It will be V initial into 1 plus gamma into delta T. Okay. Similarly, from this step, I can say gamma is equal to delta V divided by Vi into delta T. So what is the point is, see, the same thing I'm writing it in two ways. If you would have observed for the past two topics also. Why I'm doing this, the question is about gamma. What do you mean by gamma would be? What do you think gamma would be? It's called coefficient of
Cubical expansion.
it's called coefficient of cubical expansion. Okay. So if they ask the question about coefficient of cubical expansion, we will be using this. Sometimes in the question, they'll give you the cubical expansion coefficient. and they will ask you what is the final volume. That time we can use this formula. Okay, but what I'm trying to say is both are same, just different ways of writing the expression. Okay, then what will be the definition of gamma? Ratio of increase in volume to the product of what? Product of original volume
original volume
and
and increase in temperature.
yes. What will be the SI unit, guys?
Kelvin
Be-
raised to the power -1.
Yes, it's Kelvin inverse, and the CGS unit is still degrees Celsius inverse. Got it?
So could you
So
go
this
up
is sure.
a bit more, sir?
Sure. Guys, just give me 2 minutes time. Can keep copying. Rohan, is this fine? You want me to go more up?
No, sir, this is fine, sir.
Okay. Have you done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is all about alpha, beta, and gamma. Let's revisit the sheet. So here one important point to be observed is when you look at the values, the coefficients of linear expansion for some substances. So these are all the values which are already pre-calculated. Okay, which are already calculated. They have given us the tabular column. All these are calculated using the experimental observation. It's an approximate value. So if you take aluminum, the value coefficient of expansion is 2.5. But what is important to be noted here? This 2.5 is not just 2.5, rather it is 2.5 into 10 power minus 5 Kelvin inverse. That is the meaning. Are you able to understand? So if you look at brass, it is 1.8 into 10 power minus 5 Kelvin inverse, because here it is given, see here only change that Kelvin to Kelvin inverse. So if you observe all these values, can you tell me on a comparative scale, is it a small value or a big value? So this 10 power minus 5 means almost 5 zeros before the non-zero digit that is going to start. So which is going to be a very small number, right? Are you able to understand what I'm trying to say? So whether you talk about coefficient of linear expansion or superficial expansion or cubical expansion, all these values are going to be very, very small. Why I'm stressing on this point is, see, for example, here, if I take the coefficient of volume expansion for some substances, if you take aluminum, it is 7 into 10 power minus 5. Look at it, no? It's very, very small, right? So when this is the case, what we can do is, wherever you have a question where alpha square, alpha cube, you're seeing these kind of questions, no? All these things can be approximated to 0. So what I'm trying to say is, if the coefficient of expansion of aluminum, linear expansion of aluminum is 2.5 into 10 power minus 5, its square is going to be 2.5 square into 10 power minus 10. 10 power minus 10 is almost a negligible value, right? It is almost 0. So going forward, wherever we see any power of alpha other than 1, then at that point we are going to ignore it. Okay. Now comes an important question. That is the relation between alpha, beta, and gamma. So why we need to study the relation is because I can talk about the same material. See, alpha depends on the material. It doesn't depend on how much heat you supply. It depends on material to material. That's why they could confidently tell you that the coefficient of volume expansion of aluminum is a material, is fixed. Right? Are you able to understand? So, if I need to find the relation between, that is, the relation between alpha, beta, and gamma, where I am considering the same material in 3 different forms. That is, I can think of an aluminum rod, I can think of an aluminum sheet, and I can think of an aluminum cube. Though the material is same, okay, though you are going to supply the same amount of heat, let's say all the 3 materials are subjected to the same amount of heat. That is, the change in temperature for all the 3 materials is the same. Right? Are you able to understand? So this whole thing is made up of aluminum. Okay. But what is the parameter that is going to be different for the rod, the sheet, and the cube made up of aluminum? Guys, is my question clear or you want me to rephrase it? Do you want me to repeat it?
Could you repeat, sir?
The
Yes.
coefficients will be different.
Very good. Somebody told the answer, but I'll repeat that. So what I'm trying to say is I have a rod in my hand. Rod is one dimensional. Okay, think of a small stick. Okay, that stick is made up of aluminum. I have a sheet. Sheet is nothing like your paper. Let's say your paper itself is made with an aluminum sheet. Aluminum, okay. And I have a cube. That cube is also made up of aluminum. The material is the same. All the 3 materials will be subjected to the same amount of heat. Means delta T also I'm going to keep it constant. I asked what is a parameter that is going to change for these 3 materials. The answer to that is the coefficients of expansions. That is why if you revisit the table and see, no, the coefficient of linear expansion of aluminum is 2.5 into 10 power minus 5. Whereas the same coefficient of expansion when it comes to 3 dimension is 7 into 10 power minus 5. That is, here it is alpha, here it is gamma. So though the material is same, what is different? The coefficients of expansions are different. Okay. That is the reason why we are studying what is the relation between alpha, beta, and gamma. Okay. Let's see what it means. Shall I proceed? Is there any doubt, guys? No, see. Okay. So, if I take a rod of length L, then see, these are all the conditions. Consider a cube of side L. Okay. So, what I'm trying to say, if I take a cube of side L, then for the cube, there are 3 dimensions. That is, the cube will have length, the cube will have area, and the cube will have volume also. Right. So, if I try to write so this cube is subjected to heat. Okay. So, what I'm trying to say is, I'll just explain this concept. You need to consider a cube of length L. Then its original volume V will be how much? Since it's a cube, it is going to be L cube. So V will be equal to L cube. Next, suppose the cube is heated, okay, so that the temperature increases by delta T. Then my question is, how many dimensions of the cube is going to change? How many dimensions will change, guys? So original volume V is equal to L cube. When cube is subjected to a change of delta T, okay, then the length of the side will increase. I'll change the color, see. This length will increase in such a way that what is going to be the final length? L final will be equal to, you revisit the formula, it will be L initial into 1 plus alpha into delta T. Okay. So L final will be equal to, what is the L initial? It is L into 1 plus alpha delta T. Let me call this as equation number 1. Now, what can I say about its area? A final will be equal to A initial into 1 plus alpha into delta T. So what is the area of one side of a cube? What is the area of one side of a cube? See, the cube consists of how many sides? Can you tell me?
6.
6. So what will be the area of each face? That is each side.
L square.
It is L square. So original area will be L square. So 1 plus is not alpha, it is beta. So 1 plus beta into delta T, equation number 2. Similarly, what is going to be the final volume? V initial into 1 plus gamma into delta T. So V initial is L cube into 1 plus gamma into delta T. Correct? So this is V final. Let me call this as 3. Guys, is there any doubt till whatever I wrote?
No.
Is there any point that okay? Everyone? Now listen. So V final is equal to L cube into 1 plus gamma into delta T. Now comes an important question. When the material is subjected to heat, the concept of V final itself is coming because the length of each side is changing. Right? So can I write something like this also? A final is equal to L final square, because when A initial is L initial square, L initial is L. When A I is initial length square, A final will be final length square. Correct? Similarly, final volume will be LF cube. Guys, am I clear? So let me call this as 4 and 5. So what I will do is, using 4 into, that is wherever I find AF, I'll write it as LF square. So LF square is equal to L square into 1 plus beta into delta T. Does this make sense? L final square is equal to L square into 1 plus beta delta T. Guys, this is a very, very important concept. Concentrate. If there is any doubt, get it clarified. So L final square is equal to L square into 1 plus beta delta T. But what is L final? 1 plus alpha delta T. But L final is equal to L into 1 plus alpha delta T, using this here. Where did I get this from? From first equation. If I use it here, then I'll have L square into 1 plus alpha delta T the whole square is equal to L square into 1 plus beta delta T. L square gets cancelled. So tell me, what is the expansion on left hand side? It is 1 plus alpha square delta T square plus 2 alpha delta T is equal to 1 plus beta into delta t. Am I right, guys? So left hand side, I applied a plus b the whole square. Right hand side, I didn't disturb at all. Clear?
Yes.
Now see, 1 and 1 will get cancelled. What else is the other parameter that will be approximated to 0? I explained you one important concept, right? Alpha raised to the power anything other than 1 is going to be a 0. So in this, I have 1 and 2, first and the second term. Which term will become 0?
First term.
The first term is gone. Since alpha is very small. So what am I left out with? 2 times alpha into delta t is equal to beta into delta t. So delta t and delta t are gone, which implies beta will be equal to 2 times alpha, or alpha divided by beta is equal to 1:2. This can be a 1-mark question. They'll ask you what is the relation between alpha and beta. You should know what it is. Okay. Or sometimes they can ask you the derivation also. So alpha is to beta is 1:2. Make a note of it.
Because I specifically asked, I think I told her that we can even consider thinking about this only if end-to-end decision making, like if they're just investing partners and nothing else, we can even think about it.
Guys, are you done?
One minute, sir.
Yeah, make a note. Shall I move on?
Done, sir.
Now listen. So what I'm going to do is I will use the fifth and the third. Here, yeah, V final. So V final, can I write it like this? LF cube is equal to L cube into 1 plus gamma into delta t. But what is LF? L into 1 plus alpha into delta t. So I will take this and substitute it here. Then it will become L cube into 1 plus alpha delta t, the whole cube, is equal to L cube into 1 plus gamma into delta t. L cube gets cancelled. So A plus B the whole cube is A cube plus B cube plus 3 A square B plus 3 on the left side that can be ignored, that can be approximated to 0. Three times alpha into delta t will be equal to gamma into delta t. Delta t will get cancelled. Gamma will be equal to 3 times alpha. So from this, alpha by gamma is equal to 1 divided by 3. This is also an important relation. Okay. Make a note. Done.
Yes, sir.
Hence, alpha is to beta is to gamma is equal to 1 is to 2 is to 3. And this is applicable to a material called as isotropic. I'll put it in very simple simple terms, okay? So if the length is increasing by a factor of some value, then the breadth should also increase by the same factor. They cannot expand in different ranges. That kind of a material is what is called as isotropic. If the expansions in all the dimensions is similar, then I call it as isotropic, or else it is called as anisotropic, which is the opposite of isotropic. Okay. So they will use this word for an isotropic material. What is the relation between alpha, beta, and gamma? What is your answer? It should be 1 is to 2 is to 3. Guys, was I audible till now?
No, sir.
From where? From which point was I not audible?
We finished a relation, sir. That alphas to betas to gamma 1 equal to
You
1
didn't see
is
my
2 to
screen
6,
also,
right?
huh? You guys didn't
No,
see my
sir.
screen also.
I think you left the meeting, sir.
No, I didn't leave. Actually, what happened is I did a problem and I explained another concept, thermal expansion also. I'm really sorry. So do one thing actually that is almost 12 minutes concept, which I cannot repeat again. So see, the today's video is going to get uploaded, right? The last 10 minute session alone, I want you all to go through it. If there is any doubt, I'll clear it in the next class. Because I'll show you what all I did. Now you are able to see my screen, right? Can someone speak?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what I did is I did a problem actually. I solved this problem of example number 8. Okay. Then I explained anomalous expansion of water also. So I suggest you guys to go through the video for the last 10 minutes alone from today's class that will get uploaded by tonight. If there is any doubt that you didn't, there is any point that you didn't understand from that, I will definitely repeat it tomorrow because it will take some more time for me. It was almost 10 minutes to 12 minutes concepts. Okay. So other than that problem and anomalous expansion of water, till that relation, is there any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. So what I was saying is, this chapter is actually divided into 3 parts, right? One is thermal expansion, then the measurement of heat, which is called as calorimetry, and heat transfer. The heat transfer part alone is deleted. So I have completed thermal expansion part. In tomorrow's class, I will start calorimetry. If possible, I can complete it by tomorrow, or else maximum 1 more class. In 2 classes, this chapter will be over. Next, we'll start thermodynamics. Okay. So I'm really sorry for the last 10 minutes alone. Please go through the video. Okay. So just wait.